Okay, on this video, we're finding the measurement of the angle. Okay, so the way you do it is, first I gotta label all the sides that I know. I need to label this side and that side. I don't need to label this side because there's no information given here. Okay, so don't worry about this side, but I will need to worry about this side and that side. Now, this is the longest side and it's opposite to the right angle, so that make this the hypotenuse. Okay, now it has a hypotenuse, and now this you have a choice, could be the opposite or the adjacent. Is opposite to the angle that I'm standing at, so that'll be the adjacent. And remember, we stand at the angle where we know the measurement, or that's what we need to find. Now, to figure out who I need to use, I'm gonna need to remember. So, ka toa. Now, what I need is I need something that has a hypotenuse and the adjacent. Here's hypotenuse, and I'm sorry, it's not adjacent. It is the opposite. This is the opposite because this is opposite to this side. So it has to be the opposite. So now what I need is has to have the hypotenuse and it has to have the opposite. So what I need is the sine. So I'm gonna write the sine of the angle. I don't know the measurement, so question mark is equal to the opposite. The opposite is 40 over the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse will be 60. Now, I need to get a question mark by itself. To get rid of this, I'll do the opposite. So the opposite of sine will be, it's called the arc sine of, or the sine and -1. And when you do to one side, you must do to the other side. I'm gonna take the sine of -1 over here. Now these are opposites, they're gonna cancel. So sine inverse and sine is the opposite, so that cancels. All you have is question mark. And now put this in your calculator, sine, arc sine of 40 over 60, and that'll be the answer. So I need my calculator. Now to use the calculator, remember I have to be in degrees. So here's what you need to do. Okay, I need to do the arc sine of 40 divided by 60. If you notice, there's no sine -1 in here. Okay, so the way you get it is you have to do what they call the inverse. So click on the inverse and notice when I click on the inverse, this will be the sine of -1. Notice everything else changed. So I need the sine of -1 or the arc sine of 40 divided by 60. So what I enter is what you see right here, sine inverse 40 over 60. Sine inverse 40 over 60. Get equal, and that's the answer. So the answer is that, and you gotta be careful because they ask you to round your answer. So you have to look and see what they ask you to round. Let's round to the nearest degree. Okay, this is the nearest degree. So the answer is 41 or 42 depending on this number. And the rule is the following. If this number is 5 or larger, add 1 to it. If it's smaller than 5, stays the same. Because it is larger than 5, add 1 to it, so this will be 42. And that angle is 42 degrees. That is the answer. Okay? So like before, I need to find what's given. And based on what I given, I know that I'm going to use one of these. Okay? Either sine, cosine, or tangent. Next problem. I'm going to stand right here because that's what they're asking for. This, I don't know nothing here. Now I need to determine if these are opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. This is the longest side and it's opposite to the 90-degree angle, so this will be the hypotenuse. Now, this side right here is right next to the angle that I'm standing at, so this will be the adjacent, right next to me. Okay, now I need something that has hypotenuse and adjacent, and that'll be this right here. Hypotenuse and adjacent, so that'll be the cosine. So we're gonna do the cosine of the angle, and the angle, I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna put question mark, is equal to the adjacent. Adjacent is 45 divided by the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is 51. Now I need the question mark by itself. I need to get rid of cosine. The way you do it is you do the opposite of cosine. So the opposite or the inverse of cosine will be uh, cosine of -1 or inverse of cosine. And these are opposites, so they're gonna cancel. What you do to one side, you must do it to the other side. So I'm gonna do the cosine of -1 of that. Okay, so get your calculator. Now I need the inverse of cosine. So inverse cosine, inverse cosine, and 45 divided by 51. Inverse cosine 45 divided by 51. Okay, so the answer will be 28.0724. So I'm gonna take that answer, and remember it tells me to round to the nearest degree. So let's see what's gonna happen to my degree. So the answer will be question mark is equal to that. So my question mark is equal to that. Okay, now I need to round to the nearest degree. I need to round this number, and whether it's 28 or 29 depends on this number. Because it's smaller than 5, it will stay the same. So the answer is, my question mark is about 29 degrees. And that is the answer. Okay, thank you.